Okie dokie. I think we're cooking. Let's get this over here. And now we're cooking here. So, first things first is we always gotta wedge up some clay. We always gotta do some wedging. I'm gonna pick 3 random ones out of the bin. Right out of the bin here. So there's one. Clay's feeling a little bit soft, but it's definitely in the range of workable for height, right? And so what am I feeling for in those moments? I'm trying to feel for like the resistance of me pushing on it. Like I want to have to start engaging like my tricep a little bit. When I have to do that, I guess that's not helpful though, because everybody has different levels of strength. But if I was to like punch the clay, like I don't want my hand to like sink into it, right? Like I want there to be, like if I was to throw this at somebody, they would think it's a solid brick, right? Maybe not as hard as a brick, but it wouldn't like squash, right? Or if I was to drop this on the ground right now, it's still probably gonna keep its shape somewhat, right? That's kind of what I aim for hardness, right? When it feels like if it moves too easy, right? Like if you can take your thumb and you can just like sink it in there very slowly, like I would say that that's probably too soft for me personally. I think a lot of times that's some people's biggest problem, is that they're not trying to work with some harder clay, and I think realistically it would help them out a little bit. Okay, here we go. There we go. But I think we kind of, in pottery, we sort of fetishize the idea of soft clay. Ranish Kumar says hello. I'm in the US. Okay, so here we go. We're gonna play some music now. Hopefully this isn't too loud. I think that should be good. I think I gotta actually turn my voice up a little bit. Ah! Sorry, I'm being annoying. I just gotta make sure I'm not audio peaking, and then there we go. I think this is good, guys. Somebody said, did I just what? You heard it? That's so funny, okay. Alright, here we go. Alright, camera A. Camera A. Green, on. Good morning, chili dogs. What you focus on grows. Feed them horses. We got 3 more pots coming your guys' way, so I'm gonna get over there in just a second. I don't have them spinning this time, but green off. We're gonna get over there. Camera C. Camera C. Turn that off. Pottery shelf. Epic time. We're gonna set this on there. Somebody said they're from India. There's a huge pottery, a lot of pottery people on YouTube from India, and especially during Diwali, I always see people making like little, I know they're not candles, but the candle pottery things, if you know what I'm talking about. You're a real pottery demon. I thought it was exaggeration. You're real, it's so funny. Alright, so we got number one. This is a smaller chunk, right? So first thing we're gonna do, get some water on there. Take off that clay that's on there. And then Hayden's back. Hello, Hayden. Here we go. Camera B. Push this down. Boom, boom, boom. Somebody asked me how I'm feeling. Is that to everybody, or? I hope we're all feeling okay, right? And even if we're not, I hope we just show up for what we got to, you know? Alright, so here we go. Pulling this up a little bit. Alright. And this one, it's a smaller amount of clay. This clay is probably around maybe 2.75 pounds. Right down to the bottom. Again, pulling this up ever so slightly. Starting to tear in that middle, but we don't freak out. We just let it be. Camera A. Camera A. Bring that up to the top. Tilt that over. Somebody says vase, question mark? Nah, we're making trees today. And it's gonna tear a little bit in that middle. You can already see where that base is right there. It's getting a little bit wobbly. Get some water on there. Camera B. Have that hand, that right hand is right where that's wobbling, right? Get that down a little bit. Grab your hammer fist coming right down over top. Have that locked in. I'll show you guys in a second. Camera C. Camera C. Look where this hand's at. 3/3. I have thirds here. The first third, that's where I keep that hand. I don't have it, I don't lose my wrist. This isn't arm wrestling. Don't lose your wrist, right guys? Keep that wrist right up on this third here. Then when you slowly pull back, you're bringing all that off-centered clay right around, and it's gonna funnel right into this hand, which is gonna keep everything right on center. And that's how you center the clay, right? And look where my elbow's at, guys. Look where my elbow's at. It's right into my hip bone here. If you can't do that, if you're too big, set it on your leg, right? If you're really thin and you can't reach, maybe your arms are shorter and you can't reach your hip bone, set it right in front of your torso. Use your body weight, right guys? Okay. 2 thumbs right through this middle, right? You open this up. Check if there's any rabbits. No rabbits. Is it dry in there? If it's dry, you can't have the tadpoles dry out. Have your fingers hooked in there. And I always think of it. Imagine this is a cake, right? It's 3 layers of a cake. These top 2 layers, all this thickness, you don't want to push that. Be like a water jet cutter. Cut through it, right? So I'm using the very tips of my fingers here, and I'm cutting through that base. It should feel like butter I left out overnight, right? Right down. Smooth out that base. Sometimes if you get any stuff folded up right in the inside here, get that off. We don't want that because when we go to pull, it's going to be right in our way. There we go. So look at that. I got some of that right off my finger. There we go. Little clay booger there. Alright. Next up, you guys know what's happening next. What's up, guys? Llama's here. Llama's going to bite right down on this rim. Camera B. And I'm slowly Gonna bring this up, and we know what llamas love, guys. Llamas just absolutely adore volcanoes. So you're gonna get into volcano mode. There we go. Get some water on there. Open this up just a little bit, enough to fit my hand on the inside. And the thing with cylinders, right, how to make cylinders, is you make that volcano first, and every pull, you're slowly gonna be bringing in that base inwards a little bit. Slowly walk that in. Define that bump just a little bit. And the first couple pulls are not about getting height. Right? Don't try to just pull maximum height from the beginning. What you're aiming for is you're trying to get equal wall thickness, right? Maybe a slight taper towards the top, right? Again, right down to that base, grab that knuckle, and I'm pushing down towards the bat, right? I define that little bump, and again, I slowly walk that up, right? Just a little bit. Okay. Now that we got it pretty even, right? We're gonna collar this in. You never wanna lose this inside. What? Somebody said, how long did it take you to set up the cameras where you can call it out and it changes? It didn't take too long. It took me long to get the money for all the parts to do this, right? Like, that's the big thing. But actually, if you have all the parts, you could set it up in a day, realistically, right? All right, here we go. We're in the age now where you can look up stuff on YouTube and you can find almost anything, right? Right down, finger on this bottom. You ask the clay, hey clay, I need a quest. The clay will always give you a quest. It'll give you this little bump. And you're slowly gonna walk this bump upwards. There's gonna be a point, guys, when you're gonna be pulling this up, you're gonna see it wiggle a little bit. Don't freak out. Maintain that bump all the way to the top, right? Maybe slow down as you get to those points too. But don't freak out. Keep that tension. Have the determination to, even when things look scary, that you keep pushing forward, right? And there you go, you're at the top. And so that's the height pull, right? That's the height pull. No music. Oh no, I hear it. Oh, okay. Yeah, it was just calming down, the music. All right. Get some of this water out of the inside here. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. Get these even out here, right? And this is a pretty tall one, so we're gonna actually twist this one down. We're gonna hold that, lift that twist up. The twist is now gonna be the anchor point. Give it a little shake and a shimmy. Get some water on our fingers, get some water on this interior here. And we can slowly hook our fingers and walk this out. It's a little bit thin, so this one might tear on the top, but I'm not gonna freak out. I'm gonna let it be. Kiss that rim. Tree number 1's done, guys. Somebody said it looks like the Dune popcorn bucket. So funny. Keeping an eye on it. So you see how it's tilting towards one side, and it's really, really thin there, and the top rim is just a tad thicker. So in my mind, when I see this, I either think that it's going to collapse, right? And so I think it's going to collapse before it tears, right? So again, we're just going to twist this down. Allow that to twist up. The twist is what's going to hold that piece together. Are we allowed to do song requests, like non-copyrighted songs? I just put on a random playlist and I just go for it, right? Once I get clay on my hands, it's kind of hard for me to mess around on the computer a whole bunch and switch things. One day, if I can figure out like how you guys could just pick songs or something, I think that'd be kind of lit. But for the meantime, I just put on a random playlist and I just start cruising on it, right? Like, I use the YouTube algorithm on generating playlists usually to decide what I play. Why not make pots with chocolate? That's so funny. People keep asking about the chocolate stuff. I had one of my videos yesterday. A lot of people, it was like where somebody was asking about the chocolate. It was kind of funny. It was getting some views on it and some comments. But here we are. We popped up that skirt. And when I'm looking at this, personally, I see tendrils when I look at this skirt, just because there's a lot of emptiness on this bottom, and so we just want to address that with some tendrils. And the tendrils aren't really wide either. Do you see how like narrow the space is for the tendrils on this one? And so personally, I think the tendrils can excite that bottom just a little bit, when otherwise it would look maybe perhaps a little bit too mundane. Whenever you're doing the tendrils, the key for the tendrils is touch them as little as possible. And usually they look like they're growing out of the bottom of the form, right? Okay. Circle this up. Nice. Okay, curl these in. Again, one more. Or maybe this one, we're just gonna leave this one curled over to the side. Alright, pop these little bumps up there. I feel like I gotta do 2 more there. And we're done. So there's number 1. Hello. I'm telling you, you don't want to eat the clay. Ooh, barely caught that one, guys. Again, so we just want to lit this. It's going to collapse here, though, so you can already see it trying to tilt. But the tree almost fell. Camera C. This one is stressing me out. This one needs me to stop touching it, so then it can just totally just fall if it wants to fall. Give it a little bit of a wiggle. It's going to tilt its head down one way, but we're just going to allow that to happen. Alright, that's fine. Cool. Alright, so I think we're going to be set there. I got to line up the pins. Yep, I'm making trees. Alright, here we go. But I had one of my students try to eat clay. Oh my gosh. I told them don't do it, and they said, I'm gonna do it. And they did it, and then they told me that they regretted their decision. So don't eat clay, y'all. Alright, here we go, guys. Camera B. Want to make smaller trees. It wouldn't collapse faster. Wouldn't it collapse faster when it's bigger? Yeah, but I don't want to... I get 6 trees out of each bag of clay, right? So I don't mind if they fall. I don't mind if that happens, right? Do you make the thing go round or what? No, I don't really ever make them round, really. I feel like for me, no matter if it goes wrong, it's still good art. No, not exactly, right? So that's the thing, Hayden. I think a lot of people... Hold on, let me swap this. Camera A. A lot of people, they just make excuses for anything that they make to just become art, right? And I think that's the biggest problem with artists nowadays, is that they don't have any failures, right? Everything, if you work on it long enough, or if you just say it's not a failure, it's not a failure, right? And so for me, it's all about how do you define those failures in your own work, right? And so I think that's a really hard step to, like, I don't know, take when you're making things, because you don't want to just make a bunch of crap, right? But for me, a bunch of crap is necessary for you to get the stuff that looks really cool. If you're not failing, you're not trying hard enough. I really believe that. Why would it be rude? You're all good. I've only been doing pottery for probably 4.5 years, right? I have a foot pedal, right? That's my thing. It's not rude. 4.5 years is what I've been doing pottery, like seriously, taking it seriously for, right? Before that, I was doing some sculptural stuff, and then even before that, I was only doing drawing, so it took me some time. All right, camera C. Camera C. Camera C. Why is it not shifting? Camera C. Hold on. Camera C. There we go. I don't know why it wasn't working. Community show? No, I've never seen the community show. I don't really watch TV very often. I'm usually either making or editing. So here we go. A little bit of water on the inside there. Check if there's any rabbits. No rabbits. All right, little tadpoles. Can't be dry in there. Add some water. Cut across that bottom like it's butter you left out. And it should feel easy to move. Do they get sold out? I don't sell any of my pots. All right, here we go. Grab your llama. Ooh, ooh. Bite right on that rim. Camera B. Llamas love volcanoes, guys. So we're gonna bring it into a volcano here. Right? And if I noticed it, I probably went a little bit too thin in this middle part. So I gotta keep that, be aware of that. Oh, one of the trees fell over. Interesting. So we'll have to look at that one later. All right, knuckle. Right to the bottom, slowly bringing this in. And the first pull, right, is all about equalizing those walls. As I said, I was thin on the top. I'm gonna loosen up my grip right on that top there, right? So here we go. Bit of collar on that inside. One more time, right down to the bottom. Hey, Clay, what do you got for us down there? Clay always says, oh, I got something for you, buddy. I got a quest of all quests. Take this bump all the way to the top. I'm thin on the top still, so I'm going to collar that back in. And I'm a little bit uneven on this bottom, so watch what I do here. It's going to get a little bit wobbly, but I'm going to still finish off the pole here. Get some water on the inside. Maybe get some water right down my elbow. Push down. And I'm going to go slow on the base. Define this bump. I'm just going to walk that up. Right, it's that slug trying to get his next meal. And watch, people call this a pole, but for me, guys, it's always more of a lift. You can see where it's thin, it's going to get a little bit wobbly on that top, but I'm not freaking out. I'm going to just finish off that pole there, right? And there we go. Okay, sweet. A little bit tall, though. It's almost out of the camera. But here we are. Get some of that water out of that interior. What are you trying to do? Maintain... Yeah, I gotta maintain the thickness, because what happens a lot of times is people have really uneven wall thickness, especially towards the bottom, and so they end up skipping out on that bottom because they can't feel their finger. For me, you have to see that bump. You have to feel that bump before you cruise. Everything is at that base. It's all important about that base. What's the smallest thing that you made? The smallest thing I made? Maybe some of the... like throwing off the hump additions or knobs for the tops of jars and things, maybe? All right, a little bit of water on this interior, so we're gonna start cruising. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Make it even on this top. It's gonna be a tall collapse. Define that just a little bit. Get ready. Have some water on that interior. It's thin here too, so I can't push it too much outwards, but just enough to define that bump. Slowly walk that up. Get ready. Kiss that rim. And there we go. Push this down just a little bit. Pottery Demon is a great username. Thanks. The real idea behind the name Pottery Demon is actually, like, I'm sure everybody has this moment, you know, you wake up and you have this little demon, right, that pops into your brain. Like, you want to get up, you want to start your day, but then that demon, it whispers comforts into your ear, right? And so the pottery, or the demon in Pottery Demon, is to reject that demon that whispers the comforts, right? Because where value lies is not where comfort exists, right? Right underneath. Popping this edge up. Got any tattoos? No, not yet. I have a friend who will give me a tattoo one day, but Just not yet. We got 9. Oh, 9 sucks though. We're gonna do the petals, but since it's 9, it's uneven, so we're actually gonna force a petal here when there shouldn't be one, so it's not gonna be perfectly even. But there are the petals on the bottom. You can see one of them is a little bit off, right? You ready? Lift this one up. Camera C. Camera C. All right. So you can see the first one that we made that fell. So sometimes they look cool, right? So like for me, like this one's actually not too bad. I will probably keep this one that totally fell over. You'll see I have other ones that kind of fall in weird and wacky ways, and I'll keep those ones, right? I don't really get rid of all of them. Sometimes though they look terrible, right? But other times these ones that we think are mistakes actually hold value. They're just an unpursued value, right? And that's why we label them as mistakes. Even in mistakes, you can find parts of it that aren't really mistakes, but in that particular piece they are, right? All right, we got this last one here. Is this the last pot? No, I got one more. It's actually a deep creative meaning in your name, which is so cool. Thank you, I appreciate that. What's in my pocket here? Oh, it's a battery for the camera. That's okay. A little bit of water. All right. Will I ever sell them? You know, I might one day, right? But I want to hold off on that as much as possible, right? Because for me, like, you just can't be lured by money for when you're trying to make something. When you're really trying to chase something, you can't be bending it to fit this narrative of money all the time. I think oftentimes what you need to do is you have to have a thing in your life that produces support, right? That financial side. But then you have to have the thing that fills your soul, fills that void of value that you're looking for, right? Even if it doesn't get you money right now, you got to keep attacking it relentlessly. Here we go. This one's going on a journey, guys. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get this one. Oh, there we go. Camera B. Get some contrast in the lighting here, guys. Bring this up. Remember those 2 lanes of traffic. It's that push and that pull, right, guys? How do I start making the trees? Were you inspired or did you just experiment, right? Well, I'll tell you somebody who makes work that's similar to mine. It's a guy named George Orr, right? But his work is totally different in a lot of ways. I actually went to this lady. She's, I think her name is Maxine Frankel, right? And I went to her mansion house that she changed into a pottery museum, right? And she has a whole entire cupboard and display full of George Orr's work. And I looked at her and I pointed at it, I was like, can I touch it? And she said, for sure. So she gave me that like cool lady nod, and then I got to hold some of his pots. His pots are so freaking light. Unbelievable how light she would be, right? But he does a controlled collapse, and so that's one thing that I think a lot of my work contains. But for example, the trees themselves, they all branched off of other little things that I was doing in my practice that came together as one. I have this idea called parallel projects. It's an idea where you keep ideas so simple, but you keep them along on this big moving train called your practice, right? And so all of a sudden, when these small ideas are so simple, you can bring them together to create new things. And so that's what the tree is for me, right? Right down to the bottom. Let's see some of the old works. I can show you some after this. But just keep in mind, I have to go to work here in a little bit, and I still have to edit everything. I have done some reviews. I call it the Pottery Histories, that I've made some videos in the past before. But yeah, I could probably show you one or two. Okay. Let's see. I don't know. I feel like for me, like a lot of my work, when I gift things, I actually gift people my work more so than I sell it. It's all about making these charged objects, right? Things that are filled with an event. When somebody holds the object, it brings them back to a moment in time rather than just a functional use, right? And so it's very difficult to make those objects, but I call them charged objects, right? And so I think sometimes when you sell them, they're not really charged. All right, so here we go. Llama bites right on this rim. Slowly walk that up. All right, guys, we gotta lock in here. I got some, you know what? We gotta get some new water in here. This stuff, camera C. Oh no, it's an anime, it's an anime background. Sorry, guys. All right, some water in here. It's such a shame that most of the cool music online is thirst trap images. Alright, again, a little bit of water right on this bottom knuckle. Slowly walking in that bottom base. I'm slowly lifting that base up. I'm trying to cut through any unevenness to define a new area of even wall thickness, right? Gotta go. Thanks for the stream as always. No, thank you for coming. I appreciate it. I appreciate your time. Alright, a little bit of water. Again, right at that base. Lower this and slowly lift up this bump. There we go. A little bit of an uneven wobble. I guess they kind of mean the same. Collar this in. Gotta get my hands a little bit more wet. There we go. We got one more pull out of this one, guys. Right at the base. Finish off that pole, guys. Sweet. Okay. Here we are. A bit of water on this interior. All right. How often do I stream? I stream every day. I think I've probably streamed every day for maybe like, it's got to be getting close to like 200 days in a row now. But I've been making videos and throwing these pots every day for almost a year now. So the streaming didn't happen until I was a couple months into the throwing pots every day. But the streaming thing, it developed because I was like, well, if I'm throwing every day, I might as well be streaming. That way I can produce content while getting recordings to produce more content, right? Here we go. 5, We'll make a bump right above that bump on the bottom there. Come on. Oh, come on. I couldn't get it. I wanted to totally flap this top out, but I don't think I'll be able to. Yeah, it's just gonna keep tipping over. So sad. Maybe we do a cut. Cut here. Dang, that's not even gonna let me cut it. Oh man, this is so sad. All right, shake this down. It needs to be able to hold tension here. There we go. Someone said turn the top out. I tried to, but it wouldn't, it was gonna keep collapsing if I tried to totally flip it out. That twist wasn't enough tension, but instead I tried to use the tendrils on the top to give it a direction. So trying to take advantage of that moment that was difficult, right? That moment that wasn't really working a minute ago, and trying to do something with it. Try to add some intention into there, right? When you are having a viewer look at your work, you're trying to convince them that what you did was intentional. So how do you do that, right? And so it's a lot of times it's by trying out random things, and you got to be able to trick yourself, right? Like this is right on that precipice. There's that word. That's a good word. The precipice of being intentional or unintentional. But I think just adding those tendrils, right? That thing that looks like it's growing out of the pot does so much for adding intention back into it, right? Oftentimes too in pottery, if unevenness is something that it looks unintentional, right? But if you have a pattern in that middle, it brings intention back into it, right? A wobbly bottom, you know, gives this idea of unintention, right? But if you spend some time on that bottom and you make it really even, all of a sudden you bring intention back into it, right? So sometimes to allow for these wobbly parts, you need to have some unwobbly parts, right? All right, pull this out just a little bit. Some water right on there. Petals on the bottom there. And I think we had to do petals on the bottom just because we did tendrils on the top there, right? Pull that out. Look at that. We're gonna have this one right in this front and center for us here, guys. We just gotta shake that down so it doesn't tip over. We can tilt this out. No, I totally agree. It shouldn't look like it was made by a machine, right? I feel like so many potters, look up #pottery. Everybody's trying to make things that could be slip casted or made by a machine, right? I think there needs to be a new, dare I say, revolution of making where we really try to bring back, you know, not just like wobbly and just like haphazard things, right? But something that's a little bit in between of sorts, right? Like some believability, maybe. That's a good word for it. Do I want to show you that side? Camera A. Or do I want to show you this side? I feel like we need to see the twist, though. We need to see the twist. So maybe something like that. Yeah, that looks fine. I like that. Okay, then we gotta get this in the back. So that's the first one that fell, right? And we got this one on the top. So we got a good variation here of some interesting ones. All right. All right, here we go. We're gonna shrink myself down here in a second. We're gonna do a pottery review. Ready? Green on. Boom. Didn't work. Hold on, let me try that again. Let me charge some more energy. Green on. There we go. Didn't have enough energy on that first one. Anyway, over here we had one where I was trying to pull out the top, guys, and it didn't end up working. This is the one that I just finished. And why did I do these little tendrils on the top? Because when I was pulling it out, one side dipped down too much and it kept falling over, so I couldn't totally bring that out. So it had this like looming unintentionality to it, right? And so I'm trying to bring that back with those tendrils on that top, trying to bring something in that just to lift it up and make it a little bit more interesting and intentional on that top. Did some petals on the bottom. We got the one right behind me. Hold on. We got this one right here, guys. So this one right here, it totally fell. This is probably going to be the best one of the day, but it fell. But in a way that's not totally deplorable, right? Like when I see this, I think of a tree fallen in the woods, right? And there's something about that rim now acting as a framing device for the spiral that's happening on the interior, like right over there. And then there's almost like this little window that you can see through to see the arc of the tree, not fully falling over. I think that's kind of beautiful in some ways, right? And then we're gonna go right up to the top. This is the most mundane one of the day. Nothing, I'm a little bit thin on the top, so I didn't get to bring out as much as I'd like to. I did just a normal petal on the top, but I always say you gotta have the mundane to highlight the extraordinary. Thank you so much for watching. All the best in strong mentality, and goated 3.
So fast, I must walk along the jelly, like my wrist, so I bought a rich and Billy, There's no going back. You've changed things forever. And why do you want to kill me? I don't want to kill you. What would I do without you? No, you complete me. Give me one more chance, I'll fight. Let me put you in the side. I ain't got no time for you, babe. Should I live a life? I don't want to be a bicycle guy. I fly so high, you can see me. I just want to live a life on high alert. If I fucking feel it, then I fucking bird. If you try to fuck with me, I'll fucking put you in the dirt. Hit the gas, bitch, about look a bitch, keep it burn, keep it burn. Sister, you wonder how you talking to me? Oh shit, I'm a kid, better run for the shit. Big bitch, big cash, you know what over here. Hey, case not away, cause you know I'm slick. On me, I'm just talking in green. Kill kush, kill kill, I be hitting away. All we, I be laughing at me. All we, I be laughing at me. Ain't nothing even topping what I'm talking about. We be popping in the street with it killing me now. And the shit that we been dropping, they be popping a smile. I'm a pussy fucking bitch up.
Alright, so we're gonna just set these all down here. And that's all I got cooking for you guys today. Like I said, thank you guys. Computer, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.